What's up, everybody? We are back on a boat. Mother effer! I just love that song. I want to welcome you all to another episode of the Robe Life podcast. I am your host, the Robe Guy, and I'd like to welcome you to another, short format show. Hopefully, we'll see how we do. And I'm going to call it a kind of special limited edition. This is our second Robe on a Boat show. Usually, I'm just at my home in my sort of mock studio in my bedroom doing audio. Sadly, we probably won't see flips on a dolphin happening. I got to stay behind the mic, and anyway, there aren't any dolphins in the lake, as far as I know. And with the rousing success, at least in terms of my take, I just love doing the first Robe on a Boat pod, and we had some decent, stats. I threw it up on YouTube. It was fun just to have some people, engage, like the video. So I just couldn't help myself. I wanted to do another one. And in fact, I wasn't even planning to be in Maine today. Again, living down in Boston area. I have some old family friends, still family friends. I don't know why I use the word old. Some of them are old, some of them are younger. But in any event, coming tomorrow to the little camp I have up here. But I thought, hey, there's an opportunity for me to get up here today. It's a beautiful day. And thought we'd do, a second edition, if you will. And also, in addition to the beautiful lake, I also have the beautiful Robe Dog with me here for the first time on video. Can you say hello to everyone? Hello. This is the Robe Dog. She sounds just like that when she barks. My little teacup Yorkie Gizmo. She is 2.6 pounds of, just all things wonderful. And just like I mentioned, if you tuned into the first pod, the first Robe on a Boat pod, I should say. I'll be very diligent, keeping an eye out for bald eagles and anything else that might be nefarious looking here on the lake. And so again, I'm excited to be here chatting with you all. And I think with the success of the first pod, appreciating, I didn't really do any deep dive as it relates to analytics. I have a marketing background. I'm quite familiar that, if somebody clicks on a video and takes a spin, they aren't necessarily watching it from start to finish. But you know what? That's not why I'm doing this. I just enjoy this. And if someone is going to tune in and enjoy it, even for a moment, if you're checking this out or if you checked out the first Robe on a Boat pod, thank you. I appreciate you checking it out. And I appreciate you in general. So thank you again. Now, without belaboring the beauty around me, or at least I think, if you're watching, you can of course see it. You'll be able to enjoy it along the way. I certainly won't be offended if you turn your camera off or if you're listening via audio. But if you do fall into either of those latter two camps, you can miss me in my just obnoxiously bright green Boston Celtics bathrobe. This is one of my OG bathrobes that I enjoy wearing to Celtics games. And we may also have some more action in the background today. I intentionally opted to record this show in the early afternoon. In the hopes that we might get, some additional lake life action for your viewing pleasure, perhaps distracting to me, whether that be, water skier, jet skier, who knows, maybe we'll have another lake plane fly by. And if you're watching right now, you can see, hopefully you appreciate that it's pretty bumpy out here. There's a lot more traffic. So that's not me sort of moving back in my seat. I do like to move, if you can see it right now. Oh boy, yeah, all right, just... I'm starting to sweat now, but that's probably because it's 85 degrees out and I have a bathrobe on. Maybe we'll even see a bald eagle. She's bald! Costanza. And the other thing I just realized is, if I haven't mentioned before, I'm hearing impaired. I wear hearing aids, and the one on the right ear is beeping incessantly, probably because it has sweat in it, and that may be TMI, but hopefully it doesn't come through. But if you did hear it just now, or a moment ago, it wasn't a warning bell, it wasn't an alarm, it was just my hearing aid. So before we get started and dive into today's topic, which I'll brief you on, as a reminder, we continue and we will always be very big fans of our local nonprofit groups. And so as a way of giving back to them, we're going to do a brief shout out to one. We do that in each short form episode. So we'll be doing that today and sending them a small donation of $100 to support their cause. And these will be we've given to a lot of different groups, a very diverse set of array of organizations that are doing things for people, animals, our environment, and other causes. So what are we talking about today? Well, it's kind of an interesting time right now in the sports world in Boston, and maybe partly because I threw my Celtics green robe on. For today's pod, we're just going to do a rundown on kind of my take on the state of Boston sports. And but before we dive in there, I should note the Boston sports marketplace, environment, ecosystem, whatever term you want to use, I recognize it's a lot broader than just what I'm going to talk through today's big four, in my honest opinion. Enemy. Well, I didn't read my script well that time. IMHO anyway. Yeah, that sounds a bit more better. My grammar is hot right now. But we're going to go through the Bruins, the Celtics, the Red Sox, and the Patriots. But before we go there, a couple things. Robe Dog right now has to go to the bathroom, so she's doing her little circle dance. And right now we're on a boat. If you weren't clear on that. So, hopefully she'll just do her thing. I'm not going to be able to kind of interrupt the pod now. Just head back to shore. A couple of other quick hits. When I was on my way into town, I noticed there's a hotel on 302. It's down in Wyndham. And I never really see too many people staying there. I think it's kind of a challenging spot. A lot of people want to be, say, closer to the water, whether they have their own place or they're staying with a friend that does. And Naples, among other towns in the area, just my IMHO, have a little bit more, I don't know, it's a little bit more attractive, a little bit more character, etc. So anyway, I noticed that they were advertising both a trivia and a karaoke night at the hotel. I just found that fascinating. I know that's kind of a sort of a regular thing at a lot of bars and restaurants, but I'd never seen it actually advertised by a hotel. So anyway, it's really random. I'm not sure how successful it's going to be. Maybe I'll go. Maybe I'll go in the bathrobe, and I'm sure that'll be good. And then I think the other thing is I want to give a hat tip to the Good Life, which is a cool little shop in Raymond where I often will get a sandwich. And this is also transparently my first attempt at impersonating, which I'll do in a moment, what I see many of the, I'm going to say younger influencers doing. I don't consider myself an influencer per se, but if I say younger, we'll call them 20s, 30s, because, let me just jump to it. The Raymond shop had Clearly Canadian, which is this wonderful beverage that I used to enjoy more as a child. And if it looks like it's too close to you, it's because I don't know how to put it. I have depth perception. I'm just glad the microphone isn't moving around. And it's also a new flavor. It is Sunset Orange. So, yes, I think this is what you're supposed to do. I think I'm supposed to have sort of longer fingernails so you can hear the clicking of my fingers on the bottle. How was that? How am I doing? Good? Okay, let's just move on. Actually, I'm parched. And it's hot out here. Oh boy. I'd give the Robe Dog a taste, but I'm not sure carbonation would be the best thing for her right now. I did say we were going to talk sports. Okay, I'm guessing some of you have dropped off, but that's all right. If you're still with us, let's go. The Bruins, let's keep it simple. I don't have any comments on the Bruins, largely because I'm just not educated where they're at. My brother Ed is the Bruins fan in our family. He's a big fan. He knows them inside and out. And so my hope is in the future I can bring him on the show and he can regale you with all of his takes. I mean, he's the type of a fan who will record games when he can't watch them on TV. He certainly goes to a lot of games. And gosh, I should have brought some trim in here. And, ultimately, what I would say, though, based on my limited information that I have about them, kind of where they ended up last year, I feel pretty confident in saying they're basically at the bottom of the barrel when it comes to I'll call it the Rogue guys' rough ranking of the air quotes big four. And just to go there for a minute before we move on to the other three, I have the Patriots first. I think that's probably where most people have them, but that's something I feel pretty good about. Certainly, the strength of schedule was in question last year, but getting to the Super Bowl, adding A.J. Brown, the defense looked great. We'll cover off on that more later. The Celtics I have second. Despite the dramatic trade of Jaylen Brown, I'm certainly past that myself, but that's going to be a big thing that'll be talked about for some time. But I think they've still got a great chance to go far in the playoffs. The Red Sox are third, and climbing. We'll talk about them. This just feels like a team of destiny to me. And then we have the Bruins in dead last. So that's my sort of overall take. But the Red Sox, I think if you've been following the Red Sox, if you follow baseball at all, you probably are familiar with their performance or you've heard they've just been winning more games than anyone in baseball. I guess they won more games in July, just now as the month closed out, than they had in maybe any other month ever. And they've just got so many different players stepping up, whether it's Durbin that they got from the Brewers, Brian Bayo, who they moved to the bullpen. He's just got maybe the lowest bullpen ERA in baseball. Cedon last night with go-ahead homer against the Dodgers. The Dodgers are just a wagon, so even to take 1 out of 3, we'll see what happens tonight, tomorrow. I think Tolley's going tonight, and so he's always somebody special to watch, young pitcher. Roman, could he be back before year end and help the team, or dare I say, could he even be moved at or before this Monday's trade deadline? I was listening to I think it was Shine and Mego on EEI earlier, and that was something they were kind of bouncing around. And there's the potential for other moves. And we don't even have Crochet back, who's arguably, when he's on, the best pitcher in the game. So I think what's interesting is that, and I read a little bit about this, is if you look at their record at this point in the year, appreciating they've just been on a crazy tear, it's almost identical to where it was at the same time in the 3 seasons prior. All that said, I mean, the obvious thing here is like, well, how did they get to where they are now this year? And it just does feel like a team of destiny. Destiny? Not density. You are my density. Wow, I think I just said destiny and density at the same time. Wow. Okay. Get me a milk, chocolate. And to think that they're doing all this with no Story, no Roman, no Meyer, no Crochet, no Christian Campbell. Remember him? Ravioli. Holy cannoli. Whew. So the Red Sox, they're hot right now. And you know what? The city's getting behind them. It's just fun to watch because, I feel like whenever the Red Sox are doing well, there's just a different vibe in the city, especially in the summer and the fall. There's just more energy. And, we have some bandwagon fans and other people that jump on board. But you know what? I welcome that. Like, if you're excited and energized by it, even if it's just going to the ballpark and having a hot dog or a beer, and you get to enjoy some great Red Sox baseball, then come on board, join the wagon. We need you. Celtics. Is it all about Tatum? It kind of is, but it kind of isn't, because to me, he's going to do his thing. We know who he is now. I mean, wouldn't be surprised if he's even a little bit better this year. I'm sure he's going to be in the conversation for MVP. But at the end of the day, especially with Brown gone, who I've really moved on from now, I think we'll have to get into that in more detail in another show. In my mind, at least, it's about Pritchard and White. White didn't have the best offensive year last year. He obviously is still a great defender. But if he's doing things offensively with the ball that he's capable of, and Pritchard is going to continue to kind of elevate his game. We know he can go for 30 on any given night, and he's been in the starting lineup like he was at times last year. I guess just to say, I think it's all about Pritchard and White. If they can show up consistently, and it's not like both of them have to score 25, 30 a night. Tatum's going to do his thing no matter what. Pritchard and or White needs to be the new champ. I mean, I think that's kind of the basics there. And I do think the Sixers are going to be a big threat come playoff time. I kind of imagine at the beginning of the year, they're going to kind of stumble a bit. They've got, 3 or 4 guys now that are going to want the ball. I do think they'll figure it out. But that's where hopefully Mitchell Robinson, who we got the Knicks come playoff time, he can help neutralize Embiid. And then, I think we'd have a shot if that can all play out as I described, with them in a 7-game series, even with Paul George out there. Oh boy. Paul George in a wheelchair. Anyway. Thanks, JT. The Patriots, please, all of you downers on A.J. Brown, pump your brakes and just back off. Especially if you've been following the last few days of camp. They had the pads on. He looked exceptional. He and May are connecting. And depressing is too strong a word. But I find that when, a lot of the people, at least in the local Boston media, sports talk radio, and I don't want to generalize. There's probably some that are big fans of his, but they just all seem to be communicating that they're waiting for the other shoe to drop, if that's the right expression. He's going to behave as he did last year with the Eagles. He's going to be reading a book by game 3 on the sidelines. He won't get separation. He's not going to be on the same page as May. First off, can we just give it some time? And can we just be positive? I think I mentioned this in another show. My mom, she mentioned that he had one of the nicest smiles she's ever seen. You know what? When my mom says something like that, that's a positive thing. And to me, that just means he's going to be great. Okay, that doesn't make any sense, but just humor me for a minute. He's doing all the right things. He seems genuine. He's got a big smile on his face. He's building momentum with May. Let's ride that until something else happens, all right? And don't trade Booty. Inevitably, and hopefully it is an A.J. Brown, someone's going to get hurt. It always happens. Maybe it's going to be Matt Collins. I mean, I know he's always walking around barefoot, which to me is just a continuous risk. Just get some shoes, dude. I know it's part of your shtick. But anyway, I think we need to keep Booty. He's got a connection with May that I think is more established. So, to me, he's that security blanket. He can be out there making a catch when maybe AJ's doubled, blah, blah, blah. Romeo Dobbs is the wild card. I mean, I've heard good things. Admittedly, I haven't seen him much in action was on the Packers. So we'll see. And then lastly, I think the defense is just going to be better than we think. Particularly with some of the young guys they brought on board. And maybe the edge rush isn't what they would like it to be, but I think between Gonzalez, and he's going to get signed, I think that's going to happen. I think we'll be in good shape. So that was a lot. That was quick. It looks like things kind of settled down here in the lake. Ooh, is that me or is it the lake? Ooh. Robe Dog has not yet peed on the floor of the boat, so that's good. And with all that, we're going to close out because I want to make sure that you can all get back to whatever you were doing before. And I'm also burning up in this thing. I mean, I love wearing robes. I should have brought something that was like linen or a little bit of a lighter fabric. So if you have any thoughts on that, drop them in the comments. I would appreciate it because I'm still building out my robe verse, if you will. I probably have 7 or 8 now. I'd love to share with you all in the future. Actually, is a maybe bit of a plug, sort of underrated robes in sort of pop culture, movie, musical, personal background history. There's actually a lot out there. How we say this, it's something cool I don't know about. So we're going to donate today to a very special organization that I had the pleasure and privilege of working for, the broader national organization back when I was in school. And that is Special Olympics, but we're going to donate specifically to Special Olympics Maine. So the overall mission of Special Olympics, to remind you that aren't familiar with them, is to provide year-round sports training and athletic competition in a variety of Olympic-type sports for children and adults with intellectual disabilities, to give them continuing opportunities to develop physical fitness, demonstrate courage, experience joy, and participate in a sharing of gifts, skills, and friendship with their families, other Special Olympics athletes in the community. And as I mentioned, I was able to kind of join a group that played floor hockey with some Special Olympics athletes at the Cardinal Cushing School in Hanover, Mass. A long, long time ago. I think it was in middle school or high school. And I'll never forget that time that I got to spend with those athletes. They were so much fun to work with and play with. And they had so much motivation and working together, as a team. It was really special to watch. So, and also I do want to mention there's just some awesome stats on the Special Olympics work that's been done here in Maine. There's over 5,000 athletes competing across different sports. There's been over 90 different events, 3,200 volunteers at 16 counties within Maine represented. So I want to thank the Special Olympics, not just the national organization here in the States, but also, most importantly, here in the state of Maine for the wonderful work they do to support those athletes and all the wonderful things that come with that. And I want to thank you all for joining us for this most recent and second special, limited, whatever else you want to call it, robe on a boat. And I hope to see you all again in a week's time in a slightly lighter robe, but hopefully a little bit more action behind us. Take care, all. Bye-bye then.